Good morning, ghouls and ghosties, and welcome to Vlogoween week 3. So today is Friday, and I'm once again driving over to my mother's house because same as last week, same situation. I am about done editing last week's Vlogoween, and I think it was a pretty good one. I had so much fun with Talk or Treat last week. I might have seemed a little low on energy because of being like allergy ridden, but it was really, I just love reflecting on nostalgia, and it seems like you'll think about like a nostalgic thought and then it'll like lead you to another one, and then you'll remember something else that you haven't thought of for years. And I just like, especially with spooky stuff, I love diving into like the old nostalgic things I used to do, like with my family, or things that used to be on TV and stuff like that. But anyways, enough talking about that. I spoke about it for like 25 minutes last week. Today's Friday, and today is like the best event of the entire year. I am trying to control my excitement for today. So today is the freaking pumpkin walk, jack-o'-lantern spectacular, whatever you want to call it, at our Minnesota zoo, our local zoo. It is my favorite thing all year. If you've been here for past years, you already know. I've made singular standalone videos about it. I've put it in Vlogoween last year. I always show you guys, I always take you with me because it is literally, this is like my favorite day of the year, besides Halloween. So what it is there are, I think it's like 1,000 jack-o'-lanterns carved very intricately, very crazy, very like detailed, and they are spread out. There's like 100 very intricate, detailed, large pumpkins carved, and they kind of like follow a theme or follow a story. And then there's like 900 just kind of regular jack-o'-lanterns. They're all carved by different people and different artists. And you go at night, you go through this like forest kind of walk-through path situation, and you just look at them. They're all lit up different colors and stuff, and it is just the most magical experience. We've went in, my mom is outside decorating for Halloween right now, so I'm a little distracted, sorry. We have went in past years, and I'm just like, I'm so excited. This year, we actually have signed up for kind of an extended experience. So this year they offered this like VIP pass or whatever, and it was like an extra $25 or $30, and you actually get to go early, and they encourage you to wear a costume, and there's going to be like a dinner type situation. They're gonna feed us, and they're gonna have mocktails and cocktails and stuff, and we get to do that before, and then we get to walk across this like high up kind of like path through the zoo that they just put in, this like walkway to this like VIP entrance of the pumpkin walk, and we get like easy first access and skip the line and stuff. I'm so excited for this. And I think actually before we go, my mom and brother, because they're going with, it's Ryan, me, my mom, my brother, and then one of my mom's friends is coming with. My mom and my brother are coming before, and I think we're gonna decorate some Halloween cookies, and they really want to try that black cocktail that I made the other day, so I'm gonna make that again. I gotta go get more Sprite today. Also, a local brewery, actually the one that we got married at, we had like our full-blown wedding at, asked us to come help put up this spider web that they put on the ceiling every year and help decorate. So if they still need our help at like 1 p.m, we're gonna go do that. I'm gonna get a costume together. I'll probably do a Dracula for today. I have like 3 different costumes I need to do throughout the season, so this one's just gonna be like a classic vampire Dracula. And yeah, we just have like a lot of stuff going on today. This is one of the best freaking days of the year. I'm so freaking excited for today. I'm gonna go lend my mom a hand if she needs it with any of this decor she's putting up, and I'll show it to you guys. Her tree's also, we'll have to each Friday check her tree and how far the colors have changed. There's a little bit of change I can see this week. I'm gonna go to my mom's house, which is literally, I'm parked there. We're gonna go to the gym this morning as usual. We're gonna go to lunch. We're going to this like kind of like soup and sub sandwich kind of place. Then we're gonna possibly help this brewery if they need our help. Then I gotta go to Walmart and get some stuff for the costume and just some random, like very few random things. Then go home and get the costume put together and finish editing last week's Vlogoween. Then I think the festivities begin. So lots of fun stuff. I'm super pumped. Oh, that's what I need at Walmart too, is like stuff to make spooky cookies, or like, yeah, I think I just am gonna get some break and bake like sugar cookies. Okay, we gotta get this day going. I'm so excited. We gotta get moving, guys. We've got a little bit of color showing up on the tree compared to last week, as you can see. Not a ton yet still, but we've also got some decor going up, I can see. Love it. We arrived at the brewery, and here is a look at the ceiling before we put the spider webs up. Here is a look at us putting up the spider web. We're about maybe a fourth or a fifth done at this point, but it's a huge sheet of spider web, which, note to self, the Spirit Halloween spider web is super, super nice. I would definitely buy this for my own house if I was doing a spider room. This was us closer to maybe halfway done. I was just doing my part standing and holding spiderweb, and here is a look when the spiderweb was finally up. I love that they do this. They do this every year, and I just think it is so cool. After that, we stopped at Walmart to get the items for cookies and some costume pieces. Here's the frosting and the cookie dough that I picked out. I got some fake blood for tonight. I also got some new vampire fangs, and I couldn't find my cape earlier, so I picked up a new vampire cape. And I'm starting to cook the sugar cookies because time is of the essence. It's already 3:30, and I would like for everyone to come over to start decorating at 4:30. We're getting everything set up for cookie decorating. This year,
forgot the frosting.
Yeah, Debbie's one job was to bring frosting, and do you see any on the table? This year we're just doing regular sugar cookies that we can just kind of put any design on, but we have all kinds of stuff to use, so a little easier. And also, real sugar cookies taste better anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, those ones were...
Evan saved the day and went home and got the forgotten...
I can't eat any of this, and it makes me so sad.
Did you get, there's 3 of them.
Yes, what colors do we got?
Oh, I'm sorry. One.
Orange.
Orange.
Green and black.
Green and black. We got some eyeballs, and we got a bunch of,
There's stuff
I don't
on top
know,
here, eyeballs and...
other stuff here. I should grab, I have some like little axes and
You know,
knives.
you can
I forgot that I had these from a past year, and might as well use them because
Are they
I've never
edible?
used them. Yeah. These were the cookies that I did. Mine were actually all like licensed characters, so I don't know if you can tell, but that is supposed to be Enoch. I also did Charlie Brown with his Holy Ghost sheet and a rock. I did the Jack-o'-lantern from Halloween 1978, and I did Bugaboo from Scary Godmother, and the last was Wirt without his hat from Over the Garden Wall. Here's a look at everyone else's. So my brother did Godzilla, and he did a knife with some eyeballs and bats. He also did this one that was just kind of a regular jack-o'-lantern. He did this eyeball as well, and Ryan then showed his. He did this graveyard one that I really liked, and this little Frankenstein dude with an axe. These were kind of all of them. This was, I believe, Evan, my brother's as well. It was kind of a Pokeball one. Here's a look at the outfit / costume that I'm wearing to the pumpkin walk, and the fangs are in. We arrived at the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular, and we were walking in and walking to the VIP tent. It was much larger and more full than I expected. Here's a look at kind of some of the food we got. It was okay, I guess. We moved on to the actual event itself. They had this really cool new inflatable archway jack-o'-lantern for pictures, and they had this lighted kind of treeway that you could also take photos in. They always have this head cutout thing at the entry too. From the entry to the actual entrance of the jack-o'-lantern area is quite long, so we started our walk over to the jack-o'-lanterns. were finally starting to see some jack-o'-lanterns, and there's quite a few yards in a row where it's just these smaller jack-o'-lanterns. I still love looking at these, but the really crazy, fantastical ones start once you get to the actual trail. I tried to get clips of some of my favorite little ones. I like the ones that have the most unique faces. You know you're getting close when the jack-o'-lanterns start to be above you. It always is mind-blowing. I just love the look of how they light up this forest, and here's a look at some of the first really intricate ones. Each section kind of has a different theme, but the entire place is supposed to be about travel this year. My favorite area is always this giant gathering of all different sizes, colors, and faces of jack-o'-lanterns. It is just so good for pictures, and it is basically my heaven on earth and my happy place. Usually it's more at the end, but this year they had it kind of closer to the front. Now, I'm not going to talk through this whole thing because I do want you guys to just watch and enjoy the jack-o'-lanterns, but these are just mind-blowing. This was the Halloween section, which of course was my favorite. They had a really well done Twitches jack-o'-lantern. They had kind of a haunted house they'd created. They had this really cool scarecrow jack-o'-lantern head guy. I'd love some kind of piece of art of him. They had a Nosferatu jack-o'-lantern that was really cool, and they also had a Frankenstein one. There was this other really cool jack-o'-lantern head scarecrow that I really liked. And this Goosebumps one was one of the most intricate. It was crazy. Possibly my favorite throughout the entire walk was this Charlie Brown's Halloween one. It is so well done. It went around like the whole pumpkin and it was just so cool. Good morning, ghouls and ghosties. It is the 12th, I think. It is Saturday right now, and I just had some quick packages that I had to show you guys that came to my front door from a couple of you guys. I want to thank some people. So actually these are from, I think 2 weeks back, but I just realized I never said anything about them on this channel. I only said it on the other channel. But Jessica was so kind to reach out to me on Instagram, and she had some Joanna Parker pieces that she just didn't know if she really wanted anymore, and she wanted them to go somewhere where they would be appreciated. So she sent me both of these adorable Joanna Parker mugs that I do not have in my collection yet, and they are so freaking cute. They're from when she was working with Transpac, which I think was like before she worked with Magenta. They are so adorable. So thank you so much, Jessica. I don't know if you saw, but I did thank you 2 weeks ago. So I hope you don't think that I've been like ignoring you. If you don't see the other channel, I just totally like didn't think about like, oh, she might not watch that one, but I really appreciate it. Also, there are leaves on the ground, so if you hear people leaf blowing, it's fall. So that's a common sound around here. But then there's also Peggy. So Peggy, I actually sent a mug that she was looking for because she commented that she'd been looking for it, and I actually had an extra of it. So it's like, Peggy, email me your address, I'll send you the mug. Girl, I got you. So I sent it to her. And just as a thank you, she gave me, or she sent me these Joanna Parker little like appetizer or dessert plates. So adorable. You get like 12 little ones, and I'm definitely not gonna wanna use these. I'll probably just set them out as decor for like a party or something. But they're so cute, and I did not need her to send me anything in reply. But yeah, she sent this cute card and stuff. Super, super sweet. Thank you to Peggy as well, and I hope you're loving your mug. Then there also, I got booed. Just funny, because I used to boo, my family used to, we called it ghosting over booing. I think we'd go back and forth with what we called it. Now we'd probably call it booing because ghosting is like a different thing nowadays. But we used to boo neighbors where we'd leave like, almost like a Mayday basket, but it was like a Halloween basket on their front step. But somebody sent me that I have been booed, and this came from Stella. So Stella, thank you so much. Stella sent me another iteration of the Bat purple bath towel. So this is the one that I had been looking for, that one of you guys told me about from Burlington. And it is so beautiful. So now I have a surplus of purple bath mats. So I'm gonna have to either rotate them out, or honestly, I don't know, I'll have to figure out how I'm gonna lay it out in there, because I don't have one in front of the toilet and stuff, and they all match so perfectly. I think I'm just gonna use all three at once. But thank you so much, Stella. This is so sweet, and this is gonna go perfectly. Also, some of these like kind of mats can get like worn sometimes. So now I know that if any of mine get like a little worn out or something, I will always have a backup one. So this is the Betsey Johnson one, but it is so cute. So Stella, I appreciate this so much. And then last but not least, I have one that's like a mystery one. It came with a note that said, hello and happy Halloween. Someone's special purchased this Halloween surprise gift for you, and they asked that a note be included for you saying it was from a fan. Happy Halloween, thanks and enjoy. But there's like no name, but it's another bath mat. And it's actually another Betsey Johnson one, but it's a different one. And this is amazing. So, as you guys know if you watch the decorating videos, I decorated downstairs bathroom as the Garden of Graves, and I didn't really have a good bath mat to put in there, but a lot of it is black and white and gray, and a lot of it has skulls. So this is gonna go perfectly down there, and that is exactly where I'm putting this. So to the mystery person that left that very cryptic note, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and it's gonna go perfectly in the downstairs bathroom. We met with my grandparents and my mom for lunch at Panera, and then we went into the local mall, the Dead Mall, because actually they apparently do have a Spirit Halloween this year, and I needed a couple pieces for some costumes. Sure enough, they did. It was in an old H&M, so they actually displayed everything in the exterior display windows, which was really odd. No, I did not just viciously attack someone. I am currently working on my Halloween costume. So this is my Halloween costume for like actual Halloween. I'm gonna be a campy counselor instead of a camp counselor. So I'm gonna be like a murdered camp counselor who has like bedazzled kind of like blood. So it's like campy, but it's also like a camp counselor who's gruesomely murdered. That's why I needed that bedazzled knife, and I also ordered some like stick-on gem kind of sequin things. So I'm working on this Boy Scouts of America like vintage shirt. I just got it at Ragstock when we were at the mall after I went to Spirit. I just didn't show you guys because this Ragstock really sucks, but they luckily had these. So I'm just working on adding some blood to my shirt, but my sequins don't come for a while. I'll probably add some of those to this, but then I'm gonna add some like slashes to like my face and my neck that are kind of sequiny. So it'll be like a mix of like real fake blood and the sequins. And then I'm gonna carry that knife as if I just like pulled it out of my body. Otherwise, my other costumes for the year were yesterday's Dracula, which I think actually turned out really well. So I'm gonna put in a picture of that, of our little group that went. I forgot if I really said it when we were making cookies, but Ryan was feeling a little too sick to go. It was really, really disappointing for both of us, but I obviously am not gonna like force him to or guilt him to go, but that was really a bummer. And then I also will be dressing up as a serial killer because that local brewery that we helped set up. Let me flip the camera. I flipped the camera because why just stare at the ground? But that local brewery that we helped, oh, ew, as there's like a bug on me, set up yesterday with the spider webs. They are going to have kind of like a Halloween weekend little situation on a Friday, and they're going to be different cereal mascots, and I'm going to be a serial killer. So that's what I got that bloody knife for. I'm just gonna like stab it through a cereal box, and then I'll probably thrift some kind of other shirt to put like a blood splotch on, and maybe I could put some like cereal on it. I don't know, I haven't decided that one totally because we just found out about it. But yeah, I have like 3 costumes to do this year, which one we're already done with. So that's what I'm doing right now. But tonight we're planning on doing a bonfire where we are going to pull the projector down and we're gonna watch Hocus Pocus out here. So that'll be super nice. It is stunning outside once again. Beautiful. Leaves everywhere. So fall. So fall. Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, and we are actually off to Target this morning. The John Darien Thanksgiving stuff came out overnight, so not a holiday I want to think about yet, but you gotta get stuff when you can. So we're off to Target to look at the John Darien Thanksgiving stuff.
I love Thanksgiving.
And just get a couple groceries for the week, I guess. So Ryan's dying to go. Our Target absolutely did have the new John Darien collection out. I was super excited to see it. If I could just have every holiday have a John Darien collection, I would be so happy. There were a few pieces I had seen online that I knew I wanted to pick up, but of course I had to take a peek at everything. But I love the quilt that he has, and I really love the giant turkey pillow plush, so I definitely grabbed those. This year he came out with this mushroom lamp, which I thought was pretty cool and pretty detailed. He also had a lot of ceramic serveware, which I really liked because usually it's all melamine, but I will definitely use this ceramic stuff. We actually host Thanksgiving, so this stuff is perfect. When I was leaving, I noticed that they did have the new Voodoo Mountain Dew for this year, but they didn't have the zero version, so I still have not tried it. Hello, ghouls and ghosties. It is Monday right now, and it is like, I think 8:15-ish, but I am off to the gym right now, and otherwise, today I do have quite a bit of work to get done. So I'm not 100% sure what all spooky is going to go on, but I do know Ryan actually works until about 8 o'clock, so I will actually have quite a bit of time, and I might watch like a couple horror movies or something like that. I think it's okay that this like beginning of the week situation doesn't have a ton going on, because of course we had the pumpkin walk on Friday, and then we also have a lot coming up on Thursday. Thursday we're going out of town to the cutest town in Minnesota called Stillwater. And we are going to be going to a pumpkin patch, an antique mall, at least one of them. There's a bunch of little shops. There's a bunch of little restaurants. They have all kinds of fall decor all over. So there's a lot coming up on Thursday as well. Tomorrow on Tuesday, I am going back to help the brewery we got married in. She wants to borrow some of my skeletons, just like my pumpkin head skeleton, bat head skeleton, ultra posable, and take some pictures to like promote on Facebook with. I'll of course check in though if anything fun and spooky happens. Love seeing the Halloween commercials.
Looks like you deserve both.
I am going to be watching the new Hulu Family Guy Halloween special that's new this year that they made exclusively for Hulu. I don't know if it's like a movie or a couple episodes, but we'll see. Well, it was basically just a new Halloween episode, but it was okay. So now I'm actually gonna watch Rob Zombie's Halloween. It's like the newer Halloween movie from 2007. So, I mean, not too new, but a newer one. And I'm gonna get some computer work done. Good morning, ghouls and ghosties. It is Tuesday, which means it's taco treat time, but not right now in the car. So I am out. I had to do a quick job related errand this morning, and it's still really early. This is like the first thing I did today, but I'm gonna stop by Half Price Books. We didn't stop last week because I just didn't end up having time, but I do have time today. And of course, we're getting closer to Halloween, so I'm really hoping that the kid Halloween spooky book section has more books now, but of course I'll be checking like the horror section. I'm still looking for a Scream DVD, which is for some reason like the hardest thing to find. Every time I go to Goodwill and stuff, I'm looking and I just can't find one. I don't know. Not that I'm gonna like sit and watch a DVD right now and I can stream it, but like, especially now that it's been so hard to find, I'm like, now I really want one. Now I really need to find one. So we'll see if I find one there, but otherwise, yeah, that's where I'm headed to right now is Half Price Books. So let's go. And then we're gonna go home and talk or treat. I'm still kind of like debating the discussion topic in my mind, so we will see what I decide on once we get home. I checked the movie section first to see if I could finally score Scream, and I did notice that Frogs was still here. Still tempted to pick that one up. And I also did notice they did have Scream, only one copy, but I'm definitely going to be grabbing it since it's for some reason pretty rare, at least for me to find. They had Scream 2 and Scream 3 as well, so I actually picked up those two just cuz. Then I went over to the kids Halloween book section and they definitely had added more, so of course I had to look through all of these for any of the cute ones or any of the coffee table style books. I also checked the horror section and they had this really cool Dracula. I like the cover and the side of it, but I do actually have a few copies that I really like the art of as well. Next, I made my way to the brewery once again to help out. I brought all of my skellies with me, so I had Bat Skeleton, Pumpkinhead, and Ultra Posable. She had her own normal posable skeleton, so I didn't feel like I needed to bring Skelly in. We did all kinds of poses, and I actually got the Ultra Posable to stand on his own, which added all kinds of fun possibilities. So we took some really good pictures, and I'm super excited to see her finally post the content from these. Okay, hello ghouls and ghosties, and welcome to yet another talk or treat little chit chat time from the spooky living room, the witch's den, as I like to call it. So today for my treat, I chose some spooky Halloween Oreos. They just sound really good. So I just got done eating lunch. It's actually a bit later than I would normally be because of what you just saw. So I was helping our local brewery that we got married at once again take some like social media pictures of my skellies. It was super, super fun. And I'm really excited for her to start posting them. But yeah, it was really fun. Anyways, so I'm later than usual. I had a later lunch than usual, but I just ate lunch and now it's like already 3:30 or something. It's quite late and these sound good. So I'm gonna have some pumpkin Oreos today. Here they are. And I also did, as you guys know, go to Half Price Books today. Thank goodness. I really wanted to last week, but I didn't have time. So I was happy to go this week and I was happy they actually had some spooky stuff out and I was happy to finally find Scream. So quick, I'm gonna show you guys what I actually picked up and then we're gonna get into what we're talking about today. I am probably gonna have like black teeth if I keep eating this, but that's okay. Let's get into what I picked up. So movie-wise, I did show you guys this. I picked up Scream. Finally have it on DVD. Do I have a DVD player? Yes. Do I ever watch DVDs? No. Did I look up if Wii's can play DVDs because I thought they could? Yes. Can they actually? No. I don't know where I got that idea, but apparently Wii's and Wii U's cannot play DVDs. I also picked up Scream 2. Since they had it, I was like, sure, why not get both? I do like Scream 2 as well. And then I picked up Scream 3. I would assume I've seen this one. I feel like I've seen almost every Scream, but I'm not really sure. I feel like I've seen like all of them, but not in order or consecutively or anything. I just love the Scream movies. Another thing that we'll be kind of talking about today in our talk or treat discussion. But then I also got 3 books. So I got this hardcover of 30 Tales to Give You Goosebumps. It is literally just a collection of, I think, 30 of the Goosebumps books put together or something, just all in a big book. It was only $6, and I saw online that these are like $30, so it's a pretty good deal to get this at Half Price Books. So this is gonna be for my bookshelf. I just love to collect like spooky books. Then I'm sure you guys knew I was gonna pick this up. I picked up Halloween Costumes, Parties, Activities, and Recipes by Susie Johns. I don't know who that is, but I love these just little like fun Halloween like info, photography, imagery, ideas type books. What did the vampire's wife say to her husband as he went off to work? Have a nice bite. That one I don't think is... Let's skip the joke section. But yeah, I just love these little books. They're fun to just flip through. Like, I guess I'd call them like Halloween coffee table books. I just love these things. They're just really fun when I just have a little extra time, which is very rare. Do not carry a pumpkin by its stem. You're bound to drop it and it will probably break into a large jagged piece all over the floor. Oh, it's like pumpkin tips. Try not to bruise the skin of your pumpkin because bruises encourage rotting and it won't last as long. So I'll probably honestly be like looking at that after I film this. And then It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. This is like some deluxe copy of the kids book. Super, super adorable. It's not necessarily like the original artwork style, which I kind of wish it was, but it's close enough. And it has the whole story. And I just really, really like, well, I love this. I love this almost like wallpaper-like interior. And then I love this like, it's like a cloth exterior. This is, like I said, some deluxe version. I do know, thank goodness, Half Price Books knows what they're doing and their stickers are really easy to remove without ripping stuff. So I just thought this was nice. Again, another thing that I'm just gonna, and it says it on the side, which I like. So another thing that I'm just gonna put on my bookshelf of spooky books. So those are what I picked up. I spent like 45 bucks, which did I expect to spend $40+ at Half Price Books today? Not really, but am I mad about it? Not really. Today's topic, kind of like last week, is kind of a mix of topics, and I am using a little bit here and there from what some of you did request and suggest. So I went over some of the requests last week, and 2 of those included favorite spooky like monster icon character or whatever, talk about what monsters and characters I like. And then someone else wanted to know some of my favorite horror movies. I don't know if it was all spooky movies or just specifically horror. So both of those are woven into this topic, but there's kind of a variety of topics we're talking about today. My brain is a very interesting place. And as soon as I started to think about certain things, it would start to go somewhere else and somewhere else. That's kind of how I came up with the nostalgia topics last week. It's like, oh yeah, remember that? Oh, that reminds me of this. Oh, this reminds me of that. Kind of the same thing. So today is like spooky media and favorites from spooky media, along with a little more nostalgia. So we're gonna go over some of the monsters, icons, and characters that I've always loved from movies, media, film. Then we're gonna talk actually about some of my past costumes that I've done because that kind of led me into that. Then we're gonna talk about some of these shows, movies, specials, and shorts that have always been my favorite. And then we're gonna move into a last topic, which came out of nowhere into my mind, but I wanted to talk about some of my family's past Halloween cards, and that is actually because tomorrow my family and I are working on the 2024 Halloween card, but I'll explain all of that when we get to that topic. Let's start off with the monsters, icons, characters, etc. So as for my favorite Halloween character, just like traditional monster that you'd see on packaging, in commercials, it's not owned by a company, it's just like a standard character. So like witches, mummies, vampires, Frankenstein, even though Frankenstein is kind of owned by a company, but I count him as like one of the traditional ones. Same with mummy. Skeletons, that type of stuff. Ghosts. Ghosts have always been my favorite. I have 2 ghost tattoos, one here and one right here on my leg. I've just always loved ghosts. I think that they can be creepy and scary, but they can also be cute and fun and adorable. So I really like the versatility of ghosts. I find myself drawn to a lot of the ghost-themed decor, prints, etc. I've always had a room with ghosts in it. I've always had at least a section that was ghost themed. I think that's probably the only character that I've like always had an entire section of in my decor. Like even in college, I always put by my plants a bunch of ghosts. I had ghosts in the garden. In my mom's house, I always did ghosts in the garden. Ghosts have just always been, they've always been there for me. I've just always really liked ghosts. But talking more specifically, like horror characters, Sam from Trick or Treat, I love him. It kind of is the same thing. He's like really creepy, but he's really cute at the same time. Maybe that's like my niche, is I really like the ones that can kind of like appeal to, maybe the cute and spooky is like, I guess maybe my thing. But also Ghostface, of course. I mean, I'm literally in my Ghostface like jersey right now. Just so iconic. I would argue that the Ghostface mask is possibly the most iconic image from a horror movie modern day. Obviously, some other horror movies could be argued as more iconic. Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. But I would argue Ghostface's mask and Jason's mask are just like, you see him, that's the first thing you think of, and everyone knows what it is. It's used in all kinds of places. It's been a popular costume all the time. I feel like both of those are very, very neck and neck. And I just love Ghostface. And then of course, Michael Myers, again, iconic, love him. Love the movies he's in. So Michael Myers is one of my favorite horror characters as well. Spooky characters otherwise. So these are kind of like another category where it's not that they're from a movie, but they're not necessarily what I would consider one of the like OG traditional like 60s Halloween decor piece type of character. And that would be the Grim Reaper. He kind of fits in with Halloween, but also like other things like death and stuff like that. So I don't really consider him like one of the classic characters. I don't feel like you saw much Grim Reaper like party supplies and like decor back in like the 60s and stuff, but I've always loved the Grim Reaper, so I have loved that in the past 2 years Grim Reaper decor pieces have become a lot more available. I feel like there's more of them and I hope that continues. I've talked about this if you were with us for haunt hunting. I was going off about how I love that there's this like spike and increase in Grim Reaper decor pieces, and I want all of it. I would love to have the 12-foot Grim Reaper from Home Depot, but I just do not have room, unfortunately. And then Slender Man. Justice for Slender Man. I wish Slender Man stuck around longer with its popularity. If you weren't around for Slender Man time, you missed out. This was like peak high school for me, like the middle to end of high school, like maybe sophomore to senior year of high school, that Slender Man was huge. And my friends and I, again, see, this is where my brain starts to lead me other places because the nostalgia starts flowing. One of my friends was smart enough to get Slender Man onto actually his Wii, and we each would have a remote, and each remote would do something different. So one would turn the flashlight on and off, one would control the walking, one would control if you ran, and then one was like the pick up the papers control. Now, none of this is gonna make sense unless you know Slender Man, but the point of Slender Man is like you walk around a dark forest, you pick up papers from trees, and he can move faster the more papers you pick up, and he's trying to catch you. That's basically what's going on. It's in the pitch black. So we would turn off all the lights in his basement. We would each have our remote, and we would have the sound hooked up to this like bass heavy, loud speaker. So it would like doo doo. The music gets more intense as you play, and you could feel it was adrenaline pinching. It was really like it was so fun. Like peak fun time for me as a high schooler. And so I love Slender Man. I wish he'd come back. I wish the movie they made about him was actually good. I haven't even seen it because I've heard of how bad it is. I think there's like 2 of them and they're both really bad. But justice for Slender Man. Love him. Such like a new spooky character that was based off of like a myth and a lie and whatever. Just like he would have fit in with the spooky family. Like he should have joined the like iconic monsters, but he kind of faded, which makes me sad. So let's move on to past costumes because Slender Man does have to do with this. When Slender Man was popular, probably maybe my junior year of high school, I dressed as Slender Man for Halloween. So I had the white face, like bodysuit, whatever those were called. I will insert pictures. First off, there's this really cool picture I'm gonna show you right now. I had, I think my brother or mom take this picture on like my old crappy digital camera. And I stood in my mom's closet dressed as Slender Man peeking out. So if you can't tell where I am in this picture, look at the closet. And the picture turned out so grainy. It was like, it used flash in the pitch black room. And the picture turned out so grainy and I'm like barely visible, but once you see it, it's like kind of horrifying. Love it. I was so into Slender Man. I was really into it, but it gets better. So this year, I think maybe this was the year that like really kicked off me camping up Halloween experiences at my house. I was at my parents' house because obviously it's high school. I drew out exactly like from the game, all of the papers, the 9 papers from Slender Man. I drew them exactly the same in Sharpie on printer paper. I taped them around the front yard of my mom's house. I got a speaker hooked up outside and I played the freaking background soundtrack to Slender Man. It was an experience. Our house was like an experience. We're on a cul-de-sac, so we didn't get that many trick-or-treaters. I don't think anybody appreciated it as much as I was hoping somebody would, but I was so proud of myself. I thought it turned out so cool. I was dressed as Slender Man. I think I kept hiding around the corner. I was loving it. I was living my best life. Again, justice for Slender Man. Also, we actually made for the other channel, we did a Halloween special last year. We talk about like clothing and clothing brands in it, but we made a different like horror flick for each brand we talked about, and one of them was Slender Man. You're probably not gonna care about the info we're talking about in it, but you might just wanna skim through that video because I'm so proud of it. It was so good. I loved that video so much, and one of them was Slender Man, like I said. Other past costumes, my favorite costume to be, or the one I go to the most, is Dracula. I won a contest last year dressed as Dracula, and I just love doing Dracula. I just wore it, as you guys know, earlier in the video, and I looked a lot like Dougula from Hocus Pocus. I love how he says that. What's his name? I felt like I looked like him. I also have been Father Nature. I have been like an 80s like jazzercise person, and then I switched halfway through the night to an 80s like smoking suit, just like dad with a mustache. And then for many years, I would do Jack of Spades. This started in college, and then I've done it like 5 times since, mainly because my name's Jack and I have a spade tattoo. And so I made up this like villain alter ego Jack of Spades that I've liked to be. I like to be like concepts, which is kind of interesting. I don't really like to be a character or like cosplay or whatever. Have I talked about my costume this year? But I'm being campy counselor. Yeah, I've told you because duh, you guys are with me when I was putting blood on my shirt. So yeah, I like to be concepts, not like a specific character. Let's move on to shows and movies. Again, this talk or treat is all over the place. So I hope you guys are okay with that. I hope you grabbed like a spooky drink or a spooky snack because we're going all over the place. And then I'm gonna ask you a few questions at the end that you can answer in the comments. Horror movies that are my favorites. I did talk about this last year, so I know this is a repeat for people who were here last year, but Scream and Halloween are my 2 favorites. It's very, very hard for me to pick between the 2. I don't think I have a favorite between the 2 because I love them both for different reasons. And Trick or Treat is a close third. It's almost up there with those 2. I have watched many other ones, many other horror movies, and none have just ever come close to those. Like, I do like a lot of the other classics, and they just don't compare to those for me. And then I've watched a lot of newer ones. ones, and those do not compare. I do really like Final Destination movies, which is weird because I have so much, I get weird anxiety about like freak accidents, but then I love the Final Destination movies. I think because those are such freak accidents that I'm like, that's not possible. Some of my favorite family ones, I feel like I have two that stick out in mind that are like, if I didn't watch this in the year, I did not live. And that is Hocus Pocus 1 and Halloween Town 1. Now, I also really like Twitches. I really like Halloween Town 2 and 3, Twitches 2. I like Hubie's Halloween. There's a lot of other ones that I do really, really, really like, but it's like if I didn't watch the original Hocus Pocus and the original Halloween Town at least once in the season, that season didn't live up to what I needed from it. Shows and specials that I really, really love and some of my favorites. Again, there are more than this, but these are some of my favorites. So Scream Queens, the first season, I watched that basically every single spooky season. I have almost gotten through it again this season. American Horror Story 1984 is actually my favorite American Horror Story season. It gives me all the like murders in a campground campiness. I love it so much. You could almost argue that my costume this year is based off of it. It actually is not, but now that I think about that, it kind of is. Over the Garden Wall, again, I have to at least watch that once each spooky season or what's wrong. I could watch that honestly like every other week. I could watch it even more than that, but I love Over the Garden Wall. If you can't tell by me getting a tattoo from it this year, making a big ol' art and craft of it this year, and making cookies based off it this year, I love Over the Garden Wall. To no end. The Garfield Halloween special, the SpongeBob Scaredy Pants Halloween special, and Peanuts are definitely my favorite of the specials. SpongeBob and Garfield are my top two, and again, it's kind of like the horror movies where I don't know if I can pick between the two. Garfield has always been my favorite, but SpongeBob is such a tradition for me, and I do love it so much. Garfield is probably my favorite, not gonna lie. Just by a titch, but I love the SpongeBob one. All right, last topic, and it's not a tiny one, so I do apologize. I'm assuming that this is gonna be kind of a long vlogoween, so I hope you guys are okay with that. We're gonna talk about the Halloween cards that I've done in the past because I'm doing mine on Wednesday for this year. I'm gonna quick run through some that came to my mind quickly. And this is how I'm gonna cut this down a little bit. I'm gonna run through a couple past Halloween cards from my family that I could think of that came to my mind while I was writing this out. There are literally like 15 more that just didn't pop into my mind when I was writing this. And I will share those with you next week if you guys want to see them. If you don't, just don't mention it. But if you do wanna see the other ones, I'll talk about them next week. But for time's sake, we're just gonna talk about these ones today. Every Halloween, we do a Halloween card, kind of like a Christmas card, but it's not exactly like one because we do a scene, inspired by a movie, photo, inspired by a show, inspired by a specific monster. We do a very campy Halloween card. And the ones I could think of were, one of the first ones I ever edited on Photoshop was Vampire Bats. And I did this actually on Microsoft Paint, not even Photoshop. But if you're not watching and you're listening, I am gonna put in images of each of these because I do think I have actually every single one scanned in, or almost every single one. So Vampire Bats, it was me and my brother in black and white hanging from a tree. If you can't tell, we were very, very young. This was a really old one. We also did The Ring, which is funny, I haven't even seen The Ring, but obviously I know what happens in it. That was a good one. That was one of the first edited ones too. I patted myself on the back for that one. We did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's my dad's favorite horror movie of all time. Maybe his favorite movie of all time. So that one turned out good. There was no editing in that one, except we made it black and white. More recently, we did It. I think we did that when the newer It movie was coming out, the first of the new ones. That might have been the first one that Ryan was actually in. Or did he take the picture? Maybe Ryan wasn't in it. I don't know. We did a Monster Family, just kind of like a more of like a normal like Christmas card, just family pose, but we were all different monsters. I know Ryan was in that one. That was maybe his first one he was in. We did Trick or Treaters from a Ring camera. I love this one. If you can't see in the background, hopefully I'm zooming in my edit, but my parents are like dead in the yard and my brother and I are standing at the camera and we are like, we just rang the doorbell and we have like blood on our hands. Also, just so you know, with all these cards, we put in a little saying. So I think for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we said like, don't lose your head, it's just Halloween. Like we put a funny, applicable saying with it. So like, The Halloween card is one of the highlights of my year as well. We've done Godzilla. My brother has always loved Godzilla. So we did I think it was me as Godzilla. When we were up north, we took a picture and that one turned out really good too. We did scarecrows out in a patch. That was a good one. A little more easy, but a good one. We did a nuclear fallout one. That one was, I think, maybe 2019, right before 2020. So doing like an end of the world situation was kind of, not good timing. That one was meh. There's a couple that like I'm not as proud of in the past, and that one was a little meh. And then we did a zombie beach one way back in the day where I was pulling my brother out of like the sand at a beach. And we were zombies, kind of. Like I was pulling him out so we could like go kill people. I don't know. So those are the ones I could think of just quickly. But like I said, there's like 15 more. I can work them in to next week's Talk or Treat if you're interested, or else we'll just forget about it. And we'll just tomorrow talk about the one that's for this year, which I'm really excited for. So that's all that I have for Talk or Treat today. It's kind of a mishmash of topics, but it's a lot of stuff that just kept coming to mind. And that's kind of what Talk or Treat is. It's just like a spooky train of thought. Get all aboard the spooky train of thought. That almost is like the other name for Talk or Treat. It's just like the spooky train of thought. What I want you guys to tell me in the comments below, let's do 5 questions. First off, what is your favorite horror movie of all time and or character from horror movies? Number 2, what is your favorite Halloween special? So a specific episode, a specific literally Halloween special from a show or something like that. What is your favorite Halloween family movie? So think Twitches, think Hocus Pocus, think Witches, think Practical Magic, all those kinds of ones. What is your favorite of all of your past Halloween costumes that you've ever done in your entire life? What is your favorite one that you've ever done? And what is your favorite traditional Halloween monster character? So think back to characters that have existed on like advertisements and media for years. So vampire, mummy, a jack-o'-lantern I guess could even count, a scarecrow, a skeleton, ghost, witch. Which one is your favorite? So horror movie, special or TV show episode, family Halloween movie, favorite past costume, and what is your favorite classic Halloween monster, icon, whatever. That's all that I have for you guys in this Talk or Treat. Now let's move on probably to Wednesday because this has already been a long enough day for footage. Hello ghouls and ghosties and happy Wednesday to you. So it is Wednesday, as I just said, and it's actually in the afternoon. So I haven't done any vlogging today because all I've been doing is working all day. And actually, a little update to the family Halloween card. It has been moved to Friday. So we have nothing to talk about with that today. I'm still gonna hold my tongue until we're actually doing it. But we're gonna be taking that picture Friday. Of course, we need everybody in the family to show up, and there were just some schedule changes. So that will be something we do Friday, which also means it will be next week. Dang. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna leave you on the edge of your seat. Don't fret, because tomorrow is a huge day. Another one of my favorite days of the entire year. And that is the day that we go to a city called Stillwater. So Stillwater is this city on the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin, and it is on a river, and it is stunning. This week is peak fall color. I'm actually going to show you a couple clips of the fall colors around me right after this that I saw today. But this week is peak fall color in our area, and we are taking a road trip out there. There is a pumpkin patch, there's a cider place, there's an apple orchard, there's antique stores with Halloween stuff. It's a small little town that has all these little restaurants. It is the prettiest, most amazing, tranquil, beautiful place to go in fall, and we do it every year, and tomorrow is the day. So I'm super excited, and I hope you guys are. Of course, I'm taking you guys with. I'm going to show you everything we do. We're going to get a bunch more pumpkins, the ones that we're probably going to end up carving, and I just couldn't be more excited. It's going to be beautiful weather. Today is beautiful. It's a little chilly, but in all the best ways, and tomorrow is going to be like absolutely perfect. So I'm super excited, and I hope you guys are too. So it's like I said before, it's kind of okay that in the middle of this week we've had such a kind of like cool down and like uneventful little couple days in a row because we had the pumpkin walk at the beginning, and then tomorrow we're gonna have a ton of stuff too. So it kind of all works out, but I hope you guys are enjoying, and I hope you guys are excited because I'm super excited. I'm gonna show you guys some of the fall colors I saw today in a sec here, but otherwise I will see you tomorrow. Good morning, ghouls and ghosties. I feel like I'm doing like a weather report. Good morning, ghouls and ghosties, and welcome to a beautiful fall day in Minnesota. The leaves are falling. It is a beautiful fall day. And like I said yesterday, or in the last like couple clips, today is a big day and a very exciting one. So we are going over to Stillwater. I'm not going to explain the whole place again because I just got done telling you guys, but I am so pumped. We're just kind of like getting our fall outfits figured out right now, and otherwise we are about to take off. It's about 10:30 right now. Ryan had a dentist appointment this morning. Oh, my fountain's out of water. Oh no. Ryan had a dentist, but he's done. He's back. Good checkup. And now we're going to be getting going soon. I think we usually start by stopping by the pumpkin patch because they already open. And obviously, like, it's not time for lunch and everything yet. So I will show you some views on the drive down. But otherwise, I believe our first stop is going to be the Axtell Pumpkin Patch. The drive there was actually a little less colorful than I expected. It must just be that our area we live in is at peak color, but maybe the area we were going to wasn't really at peak color yet, or maybe they had just passed it. But we did drive by this really cool looking kind of fall festival. I love that they have some giant haunted house. I really wanted to stop, but it was so busy. Our first stop was actually at the apple orchard that we visit each year. This was closer than the pumpkin patch, so we'll do the pumpkin patch second. This place is so nice. They have all kinds of baked goods, but they also have, of course, apple picking, homemade cider, homemade food, all kinds of really cool stuff. They do even have a winery here. We walked into the barn that had the baked goods first. In the baked goods barn, I of course had to pick up some apple cider donuts. Theirs are really good, but they do have other options as well, other baked items, and a lot of cookies. Ryan and I each got some cider, and we all shared the donuts, and wow, those donuts were so good. They were a total hit. My mom maybe even had to have a second one. This is me telling her that her sunglasses are all up on her face and weird, and she couldn't understand what I was trying to tell her, but I was like, please just move them down. I don't know, she had them over her glasses, so they just weren't fitting that well. My happy place. We then made it to Axtell's Pumpkin Patch and Farm, and they, as per usual, had all kinds of pumpkins in all different sizes, all different colors, and all different styles. It is so fun to come here and pick out the pumpkins for the year, so of course, we had to grab a wagon, not just one, two, because we knew we'd be getting quite a lot. Up in this front area, they have a lot of pre-picked ones that you can choose from, but then way in the back, they have patches where you can pick your own. You walk past some goats that you can feed, and we usually don't see them out, but this year they were all out, so we did take a peek at them. This little one was so cute. Then we finally made our way back to the actual pumpkin patch. I was so excited. My goal is always to find the biggest ones I can. I don't even care that they're kind of pricey. This place has really good prices anyways, so I always want to just get giant ones. We had a few fallen soldiers that the tractors must have accidentally slipped over, but we did find some gems back here as well, so of course we easily filled up 2 of our wagons. It was pretty tough to pull this all the way back, but it was worth it because I need my pumpkins. We even grabbed a few corn stalks from the corn maze in the back to bring up for the goats because I could tell they were hungry and fiending for some. So when we saw that there were some extras just laying back there, we were like, let's be nice. Of course, when we got back up to the front, I still wanted to look at the pre-picked pumpkins just in case there was something extra special or really cool up here, but I think in the end, I definitely preferred the ones that we picked out. We then descended into actual Stillwater. We saw a few decorated houses on the way down, but there's the river and there is the city. I'm so excited, but we were also getting very hungry, so we definitely needed to stop for lunch first. Our next stop was at the Giant Antique Mall. They closed at 5 and it was about 3:30, so we just wanted to have enough time, and this place is huge and I wanted to make sure I saw anything and everything Halloween that was possibly in here. So this really cool Munsters thermos and lunchbox set was so cool, but so expensive. They also did have some Halloween blow molds. Actually, basically all the ones they had were either ones that I already did have or they were really expensive. I knew there was always this display up in the front window that had a lot of Halloween pieces, and sure enough, as per usual, they do. They price these super high, so I think actually most of these have been here for the past couple years, but I wish I had the money to get them. They are so cool. I do not have this evil candle blow mold, but once again, he was quite expensive, so I didn't pick him up. One booth even had this monster Christmas mash, which is something I've never seen or heard of, so I actually grabbed this to put in my Creepmas, as people say, display downstairs. There was a new candy store in town that we had never seen, and they did have an entire display of Halloween-themed candy. There were candy Pez, there were some horror movie cans of soda, there were a lot of eyeball gumballs and Halloween peeps and stuff. But possibly the coolest of all, they actually had a display of wax lips and wax fangs. I love that. We just talked about this in Talk or Treat last week. It was really cool to see these in person again. They had freeze-dried candy corn too, which is something that sounded really interesting and I would love to try, but they had it marked pretty high, so I skipped out on it, but some year I should buy them and I should try them with you guys. There's one more candy store in the city that has been there forever, and we stop there every year. I loved this gumball machine dispenser they had. I want one of my own, but they have really good popcorn here too, and they decorate the whole place for Halloween and add special Halloween candy out, so it's such a cool way to end off our visit here. We each had a beer at a local brewery to end off our visit in the city, and they had some horror monsters up, some kind of animatronics. One was of a giant werewolf, and then they had a Frankenstein outside, who later I saw moving, but when I saw him, he was not moving. It has such a beautiful view. It's also so fun to end with this. We saw a couple more cool decorations when we were on our drive home, and when we got home, Ryan and I decided to watch Hubie's Halloween, so we are slowly but surely checking off our Halloween movie night list. And that is all for this Vlogoween episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week for another Vlogoween week.